going to call this meeting of the Oskaloosa City Council to order. Today is Monday, August 2nd, 2021. We'll start with the invocation. We have it scheduled for Pastor Jonathan Sprunk from First Christian Reformed Church. I'm not seeing him here tonight. And so, if you would, please pray with me. Heavenly Father, as we assemble here tonight, we're blessed to be meeting together. We're getting ahead of this coronavirus in some ways, but then we're seeing a variant that's making it hard to keep on improving. So we thank you for the blessing of vaccines and distribution, but we also ask your blessing on perhaps taking away the pain that goes with this. We ask for your guidance and blessing on our state and national leaders. Please bless them with a spirit of grace and cooperation as they work through their challenges. And tonight, we're here to do city business. There's bills to pay, policies to approve, and hearings to be scheduled, other decisions to be made for the long-term future of our city. So we ask that you look down on those who have felt your call to be in attendance. For the council members and staff, please bless us with quiet and considerate attitudes, well thought out deliberations, and ultimately decisions that are best for all concerned. Please bless those in the audience and watching the broadcast, the leaders of businesses and organizations who have the vision and commitment to help the city, the countless volunteers who are motivated to help, and informed citizens who have given us the privilege of their trust and support. Tonight, as we assemble to combine the talents you've given us for the benefit of Oskaloosa, may the words of our mouths and the meditation of our hearts be acceptable in your sight. Amen.
Amen.
To join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Burnett.
Here.
Allegeri.
Here.
Drost.
Here.
Moore.
Here.
Odison.
Here.
Walling.
Here.
Yates.
Here.
Okay. First item, or the next item from the roll call is the opportunity for community comments. This item is reserved to receive comments from the community, whether they are on the agenda or not. The community is encouraged to speak before the mayor and city council, asked to keep statements brief, time limited to no more than 3 minutes. Any questions are to be asked of the city staff, council members, or the mayor prior to speaking to the full council, so concerns can be properly researched and then answered away from the meeting. Comments are to be directed to the mayor and city council only. Is there anyone who would like to speak tonight? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. Next item up is the consideration and adoption of the consent agenda. These are all items that are considered routine and are acted on in one motion. There were a couple of items I wanted to draw the council's attention to. Item I, which is appointing members to the Early Childhood Education and Recreation Center Advisory Committee. We have Steve Burnett and Bob Drost teed up to do that. Also, item K, resolution scheduling a public hearing on vacation and sale of an east-west alley adjacent to 401 South 11th Street. That hearing is going to take place on August 16th. With that, do we have a motion of approval for the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Allegeri.
Yes.
Drost.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Odison.
Yes.
Walling.
Yes.
Yates.
Yes.
Burnett.
Yes.
Okay, that passes. And then next up is the announcement of vacancies that we have for various boards and commissions. First is the Airport Commission. There's one vacancy for a term ending in December of 2021. The Building Code Board of Appeals, we have a vacancy for a regular member and one ex officio member. Historical Preservation Commission, there's one vacancy for a regular member for a term ending in December 2022, and 2 vacancies for alternate members, terms ending December 2021 and December 2023. And let's see, the Library Board, we have one vacancy for a term that's ending in June of 2023. Municipal Housing Agency, 2 vacancies. Those are terms ending in February of 2023. And the Planning and Zoning Commission. We have one vacancy for a term ending April of 2024. Getting into the regular agenda, first up is to consider a resolution accepting the application and approving conveyance of city-owned property located at 207 North G Street to Wendell Campbell. On October 15th, the City Council approved a resolution accepting a bid and approving conditional conveyance of city-owned property, again 207 North G Street to Wendell, for $10,000. Mr. Campbell's proposal was for retail and office space development on multiple combined properties. However, due to unforeseen circumstances, the associated purchase agreement was never executed, and the property remained under city ownership. Following closed session discussion at the February 1st, 2021 meeting, the City Council directed staff to advertise the property for sale to potential bidders. Bids were to include a redevelopment plan and were due on Monday, March 1st. No bids were received. Public hearing was held on March 15th, and again, no bids received. Wendell has restated his interest in the property and approached staff with suggested changes to the 2018 purchase agreement. Proposal involves the same development plan, the same purchase price of $10,000. There's no development completion date, language prohibiting the buyer speculation of the land. An application form and $200 deposit have been received as per city policy, and an updated project cost sheet has been received. While the amount offered to the city is less than previously appraised value of $33,000, the plan to consolidate small adjoining lots and develop new commercial space remains in line with the vision that's been laid out in the city's comprehensive plan and associated corridor studies. The revised agreement between the city and Mr. Campbell has been reviewed by both parties and includes the provisions, many of them mentioned before, that the buyer will develop the property in accordance with the plans and specs that are attached to the packet. If the buyer can acquire a State Farm property at 807 A Avenue West, it has to be combined with the 207 North G property and not subsequently split off or sold separately. The buyer shall apply to vacate the north-south alley adjacent to 807 A Avenue West, and if approved by the city, the buyer shall purchase and combine with the other lots, and that may not subsequently be split off or sold separately. All the zoning regulations and other city code requirements have to be met. There's no city incentives to be utilized in the redevelopment. If the property is not redeveloped according to the agreement, the buyers will reconvey the property back to the city. City will refund the purchase price. A deed reconveying the property to the city will be provided by the buyer and held in escrow by the city. If the buyer fails to develop the property under the agreement, the city may record the deed to reconvey the title back to the city. Number 8, there's no speculative resale of the property or speculation of the lot by the buyer. And number 9, the agreement will be recorded with the Mahaska County Recorder. So I'm going to open a public hearing at this time. Is there anyone who would like to speak to this?
Wendell Campbell, 818 High Avenue East. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, appreciate your consideration of this. Apologize for not making the last council meeting. Wasn't aware I had an item on that agenda, but we're here today. So after there was no bids received on back in February, I relayed some changes to the agreement to Mr. Schrock. Was able to get those through, I believe, with him and Sean, and then I believe Dave reviewed those as well, and we're all in agreement with the current stipulations that are on that agreement. So I'm here to answer any questions. Well, one thing I would say is on the outline development agreement, or the numbers that are on there, the 2 red boxes, I believe, were added by city staff. The business credit is factored into that. Again, it's just an estimate of the development, what the assessment would be for the property. And also the return on basically the difference between the appraised value and the purchase price is about a 5-year return on the taxes, to basically as a break even for that once the development is completed.
Okay.
So
probably you want, I should wait. Is there anything else you want to say before?
nope, that's all. I'm just here to answer any questions if you have any or any other comments.
So in the back, we don't have an agreed upon date certain that this will redevelop. In your own mind, what would be a reasonable amount of time?
I wish I knew that. Again, that was one of the sticking points of the original agreement. I do have a lease purchase agreement on my building to execute. I'm kind of waiting out a landlord at this point. My landlord at the time when we moved in has since passed, and so it has gone to the family. I have one willing partner in the family that's willing to move on, and one that is not. And so with those, I've had conversations individually and also through the lawyer handling the estate. At this time, just weren't able to come to an agreement as far as to meet I was trying to meet the previous development agreement, at least I believe the end of 2020, whenever that came up. So at this point, that's an ace that I don't hold. I would like to say sooner than later. My building's a 40-year-old essential pole barn. We put a lot of lipstick on it in 2011, 2012 when we moved in and remodeled the building. We made it look pretty good, but the bones of the building are, as you would expect, a 40-year-old Morton building that's been situated close enough to the railroad tracks in Oskaloosa to have some significant termite damage and other rotting and things like that that have happened around the ground. So we're doing the best we can with the building that we have. The development of this nature is going to take a considerable development on my end, just from not only a new building construction, but also a temporary location for the time of construction as well. I don't look forward to moving multiple times. I'd like to move just once, construct a new building, and then move back in there. So not only the cost of the development that I'll be utilizing, but also the temporary office and things like that I'll have to set up and work through with city staff to organize that as well.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yes. In your packet, is this a personal investment or State Farm investment?
It would be a personal investment.
Because-
I'm an independent contract agent with State Farm. I represent them, but all the costs associated are mine.
I was just wondering why you use State Farm letterhead.
That's my business. That's who I represent. My State Farm office would be going into the new development when that happens.
Okay. But State Farm is not like a financing partner or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
Currently, we've gotten rid of most of our banking products. We partner with some others, but yeah, that would not be a State Farm investment. It would be a Wendell Campbell investment.
Okay.
The land valuation is of the property you sit on right now, or the property we're talking about purchasing?
So that would be the combined parcels, 3 parcels in the alleyway.
Okay.
So it would total a larger sum of that side of the road.
Gotcha.
I've approached Nick at the pawn shop as well, and he's not sure what he would do if he sold the pawn shop, so he's not interested in doing that. It would be great to do a redevelopment on that entire pawn shop sits too close to A Avenue. Their sidewalks are too close to A Avenue equally as well. His sign and things like that do cause a little bit of a, it's tall enough, but it's too close to the road as well, and so it would be nice to redevelop all that, but he's not interested in selling it.
Just so I understand, you said you had a lease purchase agreement window.
I do.
But did that fail with the death?
No, I have
So
a
it's
current.
still there.
No, I have a current lease purchase agreement. When JB Building Company, when Jack Barnard passed away, I now have a lease purchase with Mary Elaine Barnard and son Rick.
But they aren't willing to honor it, is that?
Well, they're willing to honor it, but it's at their discretion. There's no time period in the lease purchase. I tried to do it last year before they put a new roof on. Just basically said, hey, I'll pay you for the value of the building. You pocket the insurance money for the damage that was there, and at that time, it wasn't the right time for that.
And Wendell, if I recall correctly from our previous conversation, it's really, you have the right of first refusal to the building if they choose to sell it, right?
More so than that now with the current contract that I have. Greg
Okay.
Life drew up a new lease with
Okay.
them, and so
Okay.
it is just a matter of time, not just a speculative that hoping at one point they do sell.
Okay, thank you.
So you don't have a firm date as to what building?
If I did, I would give that to you, but I do not.
Okay.
Hey, Mike, what's the interest been in this property? Have we had other offers to execute or to consider, or are we basically sitting here the last 3 years with no interest in it?
We've had Mayor Council, we just had the one offer that I brought to you during closed session. And then when we informed that particular person that it would have to go through the public hearing process, there was no offer provided. So that's been about it. I don't know if that's because there has been the city's policy about redevelopment within a certain period of time. Perhaps that's scared off some potential buyers or developers. I don't know. But we haven't just said free and clear, hey, who wants to buy this property with none of the usual stipulations for redevelopment.
Is it large enough to build anything on by itself?
Yes,
By the code.
it'd
Just
be
build
tight.
scooters
I was gonna say, look what they put scooters on.
Scooters, yeah, but I mean, that would be it, right? I mean, yeah.
You could build.
I can tell you, I own 811 A Avenue West, so the lot just to the west of my current location. I purchased that one back in 2018. That lot has sat vacant even before that, and the gentleman who owned it that I purchased from had intentions of a laundromat, some apartments and things like that. What you run into is parking restrictions. even if you do a two-story building of some sort of consequence in order to park enough vehicles there to make it cost-effective, it's very prohibitive for that.
They're pretty small.
Very small, yeah, 60 by 120s, the old platted avenue lots.
I was just looking on Beacon, just for reference, I think the lot we're talking about here is 60 by 114. I just looked at the Scooters lot and it's 60 by 152. So, which is interesting, that alley, that north-south alley on that block does not go through the middle of the block. Just a point of reference.
Any other comments or questions for Wendell?
No, sir.
Okay. Any final comments from you?
But like,
Okay. Okay, very good. Is there anyone else who would like to speak tonight? Okay, I'll close the public hearing and open it up to the council. Do we have a motion of support for accepting the application and approving conveyance of the city-owned property to Wendell?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
I think my only concern is the same as it has been in Wendell. I've talked about this, is by selling this with no development timeline, are we hamstringing ourselves from potential future development on a defined timeline that someone will come available? At
Well,
the
we
same
already-
time, nobody's coming up.
Well, we've already
Nobody's
determined a
showing
lot
up with
smaller
any
than the
serious-
Scooters lot, so it's gonna be
Yes.
a pretty small, that doesn't concern me at all. I think this is a great opportunity, and I think I'm for it all, because, yeah, I don't know who would come along. We haven't had anybody, and you just said it's smaller than the Scooters lot, and I was thinking, that
is.
surprises me, quite
It-
frankly, yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm glad I looked, because
Yeah.
it surprised me too.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got a motion, we got a second. Roll call, please.
Dross,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Coniston,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Burnett,
Yes.
Calgery,
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Moving on to item B. This is an ordinance amending Oskaloosa, let's see, make sure I run, amending Oskaloosa Municipal Code Sections 5.04.360 and 5.04.370 to allow limited consumption in open containers of alcoholic beverages in the proposed trolley stop alley between 111 and 113 High Avenue West, and this will be the first reading. So Main Street Oskaloosa, the Chamber, and the Chamber's Tourism Committee are proposing to add outdoor dining and seating to an underutilized alley. It's between 111 and 113 High Avenue West. Tasso's and Hunter's, if you know where they are, similar to the alley. It's a partnership with the City of Oskaloosa to enable use of the public alley for pedestrian purposes. The proposal includes a trolley-inspired shelter structure with lighting and seating, historic photos of downtown Oskaloosa, Iron Arch marking the entrance. The new location will be called Trolley Stop Alley due to its historic use and location on a trolley line. There's more information and some really good photos, as you can see, that were provided to the Historic Preservation Commission, and a link was provided to the council packet. So at that meeting, the commission voted unanimously to approve a certificate of appropriateness for the improvements for the trolley stop alley. So approval of the ordinance would allow the public to legally consume and carry open containers of beer and wine within the public space from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. without the requirement of a person or organization obtaining a valid liquor control license. The ordinance also reorganizes and retains existing exemptions and limitations for the alley and for Edmondson Park. Staff is recommending City Council approve the first reading of the proposed ordinance. Do we have a motion of support?
So moved. Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Is the liability the same as the other alley with the alcohol?
Yeah, it would be.
Okay.
So we're on the hook when?
Every time.
Yeah, I'd say anytime,
Every
yeah,
time.
anytime.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's an alley, although we're kind of treating it like a park space, so I suppose, and I don't want this on record, but I suppose if there was an issue with an incident that involved alcohol, they could say, look, the council and the city changed this code to specifically allow it, then they would try to sue us, and we'd kick that over to insurance, and then the insurance would probably deny it, but
And you can walk clear through it, right? It's open on both ends,
yeah.
and you've talked to Tasso's.
Yeah, I guess that's my question. Where do the business owners?
They don't do that.
I'm sure they would think it would be awesome, quite frankly, yeah. Yeah.
They're willing to clean the trash.
Grease trap?
Tassos is willing to clean all the trash, clean the tables every day.
Yeah, but they're gonna move their cans around to the other alley. That other alley's pretty tight.
The other one has a lot more stuff. This is simply a facade for outdoor seating. It's just, especially post-COVID, the outdoor seating is so popular. So this is more, it won't be the high maintenance of the other one is, we won't have a live music.
Could you come up to the microphone, Sherry?
Sorry.
Well, what I'm asking, they're gonna take their trash containers and put them in the east-west alley, and they're okay with that. Tassos, because they've been keeping them in that alley.
I think they've already done it.
Well, their dumpster will not move. So their dumpster is what's in that alley right now.
Right here.
Yeah.
And that's not gonna move because our facade is way up further than that. So we're actually not gonna disturb their dumpster. And the way that it's emptied now is from the other end. So they're all comfortable with that.
How about their grease receptor?
Yeah.
It's also way down at the other end, so it won't affect where we're building this, which is
So
about
you're not-
halfway up.
So you're not going all the way down to the other
We
end
are
of the
not
alley?
going all the way down on this
A
one.
little bit over halfway, maybe?
A little bit over halfway, right in the center, where that smiley, we're gonna cover up that smiley face graffiti. So it'll be about right there. We should have a picture,
Yeah, I'm looking.
so it actually leaves a lot of room for the dumpster.
There you go.
We will add actual trash cans for the people eating out there, and that's what Tassos will dump for us.
But the green line, south of the dumpsters is not, you can get through there. I can walk through there, right?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
So has Tassos had any interest in folks getting carry-out meals from Tassos and bringing it out there to eat, that sort of
We've
thing?
talked to them about a couple of different things. They love the idea, obviously, and of course they can get to-go meals. You can also get them from Me Ran or Pizza Ranch and bring it over there. It is going to be open to the public. We will have a sign that says that. But Tassos is more than happy. They have not agreed to open a door there. We would love to see a door open straight from Tassos out.
Mhm.
At this time, they're not interested, but, you know, you never know after we build it.
Yeah, yep, okay,
We did add one to Smoky Row, so.
okay. I interrupted somebody.
So this just, anybody that had carry out in that area and was sitting there or doing whatever they want, they can just consume there. We would have a cooler and sit there. It wouldn't have to be a function like Thursday, Thankful
Correct.
Thursdays or anything.
Correct.
And the same rule applies to the current alley. So
Okay.
in 5 years that it's been open already, oh my gosh, we've never had an incident.
Sure.
But yes, they can bring in a bottle of wine, they can open it within the space, and they can have a glass of wine with their meal or a beer.
But if they
or-
overconsume, they gotta spend the night there.
Well, maybe a few alleys down the block.
They can, they can,
The law
they can have a
enforcement center.
designated driver. You can have a designated driver.
But to your point, I'm smiling because we had just had this conversation. I mean, technically, somebody could treat it just like the park, go out there, drink. There
Right.
would be nothing you could say. I mean, it's allowed.
Yeah,
No
but I think
kegs.
I think I heard you say that you wouldn't plan events here, or that's not at least what's on the,
That's not what's on the
Right.
plans, no. This would not be the high maintenance of the other one.
There's not an organized group that's saying,
There is
Doesn't
not.
want to plan it.
Right.
I
I'm not saying someone else
I
could.
Yes, actually, we're just doing this for seating, Doug.
Okay.
That's what it's for. And if somebody else wants to host an event later, you guys can talk about that, and I think it'd be great.
Oh.
But we wanted to make it a facade that looked like an appealing place to go sit and have lunch.
so it's just a picnic area?
Just basically like your park, like we have, and we're just adding it to like the Edmondson Park has the same rule. You can bring a beer there.
I think in the past, during some other alternatives or options, like with blue zones, dare I say that word, but yes, blue zones, there were sidewalk patio. You know, we
Yeah.
took some parking spaces up front and
Right.
tried some different things. And to me, this is a nice alternative to that, so you're not impacting those businesses. Although I'd still like to see some of those, but parklets or whatever they were.
Right.
This would be, I think, a nice compromise to that.
And it shouldn't take up any parking spaces, and both Hunters and Tassos are completely on board with it.
Good. Thank you, Sherry.
The one piece that doesn't go along with this, so don't let it impact you. We've talked before about potentially having a crosswalk between this alley and then the alley to the south. So we've shown that in some other master planning documents that we have. We're still working on some concepts there and cost estimates, but that would be the idea, is there could be some connection there. That could impact parking spaces, but this project does not impact parking spaces.
It also impacts delivery. There was a truck parked in the middle of that street today, delivery. So I mean, yeah. A service truck, a
Sure.
delivery truck.
Instead of parking in the alley, you mean?
We keep closing alleys, Steve.
Yeah. I mean,
Believe me, I lived in the alleys for my business.
it's just not unusual down in
Yeah.
Kansas City or
Right.
something to park out and doing it all the time, so.
No, but I'm talking about the crosswalk.
Yeah, oh, gotcha,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Any other thoughts or opinions,
Nope.
questions, comments?
Good idea.
Roll call, please.
Moore,
Yes.
Coniston,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Burnett,
Yes.
Calgery,
Yes.
Drost,
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Next, item C. This is to consider an ordinance amending Oskaloosa Municipal Code Chapter 10.24 regarding stop and yield requirements that we have. Staff investigated traffic flow and visibility concerns at the intersection of South 2nd Street and 3rd Avenue West. Currently, east and westbound traffic on 3rd Avenue must stop at the intersection. North and southbound traffic on South 2nd Street is free flowing. Due to vehicles parking near the intersection in the southbound lane, vehicles traveling eastbound on 3rd Avenue have an impaired line of sight, resulting in a potentially unsafe condition for vehicles. Staff conducted a traffic study on the intersection, found that the traffic volume heavily favored east and westbound traffic, 72% of the vehicles, over the north and southbound traffic, which was 28% of the vehicles. Staff also observed that the vehicles traveling eastbound had to move into the intersection to look for traffic due to vehicles that are parked in the southbound direction, restricting their line of sight. So staff is proposing changes to the stop signs to better facilitate existing traffic patterns and will alleviate the line of sight issues. Proposed stop sign configuration would stop northbound and southbound traffic on South 2nd Street and allow for free-flowing east and westbound traffic on 3rd Avenue East. Changes to the stop signs do require a change to the Oskaloosa Municipal Code. Staff is recommending we approve the first reading. Motion of support.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Kudos to staff on this one. Kudos to staff. So,
I'm part of the 28%, and I'm really gonna be upset when that stop sign goes up, because I kinda like my free flowing on South
I'm the
Second.
72% that goes the other way every day.
From First all the way to Sixth, but I also understand that study's
We take them
absolutely
down
right.
and then we put them up.
But I would recommend a lot of flashing lights for at least in the short term.
Remind you.
because,
Yeah.
for my benefit,
It's
Steve,
Achilles'
for my
fault he
benefit.
left because he was for getting rid of them. You know?
Yeah.
He got rid of a lot of stop signs.
Yeah.
around here.
And
But that
people-
is, I mean, 3rd Avenue is the main thoroughfare through town that isn't 92, so.
Well, if it makes you feel any
very
better, Bob,
important.
I come to work every day on that, so I'll stop a couple of times just out of habit, okay?
All
So
right.
on 30.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
We'll
those
call it
phantom
even.
stop signs. Yeah. I witnessed an intersection 2 days ago. Same deal, where somebody, I was waiting for them to go through and they stopped for the phantom stop sign.
Really?
And kept on going. So, yeah. Okay, I'm not
in favor.
detecting anybody who even really wants to talk about it.
Exactly what it's talking about.
Roll call, please.
Coniston,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Yates,
Yes.
Burnett,
Yes.
Calgery,
Yes.
Drost,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Gets us to the end of the regular agenda. Items from city staff, city manager,
I
anything?
have nothing to report, Mayor.
Okay, city clerk, anything?
no sir, thank you.
Okay, city attorney, any?
I would have nothing, thank you.
Okay. City council members, anything? How about we start with you, Steve?
You know, I was thinking the other day, I was talking to somebody that was visiting town, and, you know, they're asking what's going on in Oskaloosa, and whether it's a new McDonald's or a new Scooters or the new post office project or a new $31 million Y project, or, I mean, there's a lot to be proud of here right now, and I think we take it for granted sometimes. So I just want to say kudos to all those folks out there that are helping make Oskaloosa a better place to live.
Well said.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah. Try to follow that, Tom.
I'm passing.
Doug?
Nothing tonight, sir.
Okay. Scotty, Diane?
I would just echo the same, from Steve. We had out-of-town guests over the weekend, and they really fell in love with Oskaloosa, and were quite surprised at all the nice things that we have and the projects going on. We actually had, a year ago, we had some friends move here from Pennsylvania because they just fell in love with Oskaloosa. He had attended William Penn, but otherwise they didn't really have any ties, but they love Oskaloosa, and now they're permanent residents here.
We'll take that. Joe?
Nope, nothing.
Bob?
No, sir, thank you.
Okay. And I've got nothing to add either. So, going on down the line, next item on the agenda is to consider a closed session.
Mayor, we won't need that item or the next one.
Okay?
There's two of them.
So in that case, we won't do the closed session. We won't do the motion to take action on the closed session. Holy cow. Do we have a motion to adjourn? That was loud.
Second.
Gonna make my bedtime tonight.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I meant to tell you.